first one I'm going to be dealing with is PPE. Arguably the biggest of all of them. Property, plant and equipment. And this is under IAS 16, if you still remember. And where do we start from? We'll start from, is this an item, a P&L item, or SFP? Okay, it's an SFP item. So if it's an SFP or item, what are the assertions, existence, accuracy and valuation, rights? Remember, not right and obligation, because there's no obligation on PPE. You only have rights to that PPE. Completeness and presentation. Those are the assertions that we need to focus on. So which means we'll take each assertions and develop procedure for each assertion. But remember, before you can even develop procedure, you need to understand the balance that you're talking about. So I'm assuming that you all know what PPE is. And if you don't know, quickly, PPE is just your non-current asset. So you expect to have PPE as a non-current asset. It can be equipment, it can be plant, it can be land, it can be computer, it can be cars. And you are meant to have a record, not just in the GL, but a record that is called asset register. Yeah, this is just a list of all your assets on Excel. Yeah, so you need to have that asset register. Each asset will have its asset code, description, amount, the date it was purchased, the cost that it was purchased for, the depreciation we have calculated on it, the net book value, all sort of that. That is your asset register. So this is also expected to align with your GL, which is your financial statement. So this financial statement, this is just a record. Yeah, which is different from GL, but the figures must also align. So this asset register will just have list of assets. Yeah, you list it out: asset 1, asset 2, asset 3. I say this is land, this is car 0024, this is car 3. You have equipment, computer. You list all your assets. That is your register, and it has a total. This is your asset register. So just to give you a bit of understanding, because understanding helps you to also know how to audit. If you don't understand what you're auditing, it is very difficult to do a good audit. So now, remember we said we'll focus on the assertions. So now let's start with the first assertion, existence. How do we prove that that asset exists? And you can see it's super easy. Super easy, because already I'm sure you know that the best way to check that the asset exists is to go and check its existence physically. So what's the procedure? You tell auditors to select samples of assets. So select samples of PPE from the register. Remember I told you, must have a register. So from the asset register, and do what? Physically. Have to physically verify, which means go there, go and look for it, go and see it with your eyes. Verify that they exist. And once you do that, you're perfect. However, because the question will always like to write a lot of procedures, there are other procedures that can also still add to that comfort on existence. So most time the marks determines the number of procedures you have to write. If there's 5 marks, at the minimum you must have 5 procedures. If there's 3 marks, at the minimum you must have 3 procedures, because it's usually 1 mark for 1 procedure. So in that case, we need to earn more marks. So another way to check that it exists, you can also check the invoice. So you can say auditor should inspect a sample of PPE invoice to confirm. Because in your procedure, you must always tell why. Why? To verify that they exist, to confirm the asset was bought. Because if you're able to get invoice from a third party, remember that is a third party evidence, then that can also give you some assurance that these assets might truly exist. So you have two procedures already on one assertion. Now let's go to another assertion, which is accuracy and valuation. Remember, accuracy and valuation is about the amounts, whether the amount is correct. And you can already see, if you understand that is the assertion, you will never struggle with the procedure. Because how do you confirm that the amount someone has put for land, he said they bought land, and they said the land cost $35 million. How will you check that it's truly $35 million? I'm sure you already know the answer. Because what you'll be doing is to say, I will select some samples. Remember, audit is about using samples. So select some samples of PPE purchased. And do what? And agree the cost to the invoice. Remember, this cost will be in the financial statement, GL. But you want to agree that to the invoice, because the invoice should show the exact amount that we paid for that PPE. So we'll get the cost. So with that, we are fine with cost. But we know that cost is not enough to justify the value of asset, because yes, cost is good when we bought it, but every now and then we need to be sure that the amount we have put is the amount that we can recover. So which means we need to also check for depreciation. So we need to check our depreciation, because if there is error in depreciation calculation, then the net book value would have been wrong. Because we know that our PPE can be measured in two ways, either cost model or valuation model by 16. So if you're using cost model, that is cost minus depreciation. So depreciation is very important. And what does that mean? We need to recalculate depreciation charge to be sure that the figure is correct. And there are so many things that can be wrong with depreciation charge. It can be that the calculation is wrong, but beyond that, the policy on depreciation might be poor as well. The company might not have the right policy on depreciation. Imagine that you are auditing a client that says the useful life of a car is 3 years, whereas they have been using most of their cars for 10 years. That means they are not depreciating appropriately. So which means you also need to audit the depreciation policy. And how do you do that? You compare with the industry. So compare depreciation policy. Of your client to that used by the peers or in industry. So if the industry is doing 7 years, we should not do 3 years. The client should do something close to the industry. Yeah. Or maybe the asset itself is not being depreciated appropriately, which means even beyond that, the industry is doing, they are doing what the industry is doing, but because there's something peculiar to their business or to that asset, the way they are using it, you may also need to check that the depreciation is actually also appropriate for the asset. So you are checking the policy with the industry, but we need to also check the policy that is appropriate for the asset. Yeah, so and the way to check as well is to inspect asset register. Inspect the asset register. What are you looking for? You are looking for assets that have zero value on the asset register, but they are still in use. That's a signal that this asset has not been properly depreciated. Because if there's zero balance in the asset register, then you don't expect it to be used for a longer time in the business. So you have to inspect the asset register for evidence of assets with zero balance, but still in use. And all of that will give you indication about the depreciation, and this will give you about the cost. But remember, I said that IS 16 allows you to do both cost model or valuation model, so you can choose. So if a company has gone for a valuation model, definitely all these depreciation procedures will not be relevant. Imagine in exam they told you that this company has opted for valuation model, and you are writing all these procedures, and you come out and you say, I've finished that exam, it's so easy. But result comes out, you fail, then you say, no, ACCA is wicked. No, because you don't understand what you are doing. You have only memorized procedures and coming to put it down. You need to know what you are doing. So if it's a valuation model that the entity is using, then to get accuracy on the figure, beyond this number one on cost, the next thing you need to be doing is to request a valuation report. So you don't have to request for valuation reports. And what do you want to do with it? You want to check that whoever has done the valuation has the competence to do it. So if the valuation was done by an independent, it's not like it's their brother or sister that is doing the valuation and just giving them a good value. So it has to be an independent party, and it has to be a very competent party. Very important. So, and that's for valuation model if entity is using a valuation model and not a cost model in accordance with IAS 16. Right. So you can see, just on existence, we have 2 procedures. On accuracy, we already have 5 possible procedures. And that is the way you come up with it. Yeah. The next assertions we want to look at, let's look at right. Remember what I said about right? So right is about you checking whether the entity truly owns the asset. Do they really control the asset? You want to know. You said you have a car as a company. Show me your vehicle license. Show me your vehicle document. You say you have a land. Where is the title deed? You say you have a house. You have a property. Where is the property agreement? Where is the property deed of assignment that you have? We need to ask for those documents. So, yeah, for right, it's very easy. You just need to select PPE sample. And you ask for the document of title. So, and obtain the title document. It can be anything depending on the asset that we are looking at. But just call it title document and you'll be fine. And that will be for the right. For completeness. Remember what I said? I said when you're talking about completeness, you're going from floor to sheet. You're going from floor to GL. So here, what you'll be doing is you will physically do inspection. And how do you write that? So it says select samples of PPE on the floor. Select samples of PPE on the floor and trace to the general ledger, or even asset register, if possible, both of them. Remember, they are different documents and they should be speaking the same language. That is completeness. So you just tell them, okay, take me to your car park. Okay, I saw this car, BMW, with number 3X46. Show me on your asset register, show me on the GL. That is completeness. Now, presentation is the last assertion. And this is easy. Remember, all you need to check is whether they've put that PPE in the appropriate section of the financial statement. So here, the procedure is to review the financial statement. So review the financial statement and check that PPE has been recorded. In non-current asset section of statement of financial position. Very important. And that is, once you've done all of this, can you see the amount of procedures you can have? And it's not likely you will be asked to come up with more than 5 procedures. And in addition to that, there are some generic procedures that are applicable to PPE. Because remember, when you're talking of PPE, your PPE figure is arrived by, you start from cost, you have disposal, you take away disposal, you add purchases, because you can buy some additions, you can have some of that. Then depreciation also will impact on it, so you deduct depreciation. When you do all those adjustments, you have your closing balance. So we've see that our procedures has covered this, and our procedure has covered a lot of this as well. But we need specific procedures as well on this one, because sometimes it might happen during the year. But it's not all the time you find it, because not all the time you'll be buying PPE, or all the time you'll be selling PPE. You are not in the business of selling PPE. If you are in the business of selling PPE, then it's no more PPE, it's inventory, right? But still, you need to just understand that you might need to develop procedures on disposal and additions. And whether it's additions or disposal, it's generic procedure that I'm going to give you. What you need most importantly is that there was an approval for that activity. So if they say there's an addition or disposal, what you need to ask for is approval to dispose or to add. So obtain the approval document. So you need to obtain the approval documents to sell. You need to obtain the approval document to sell or to buy. And another procedure that might be quite useful is to inspect the board minutes. So inspect the board minutes. Inspect board minutes for such discussion, because it will have been mentioned during the meeting. And that will be the procedures for your PPE. And that will be it for PPE. We'll go to another balance in the next video, and that's how we'll keep going. But maybe I will solve a question on substantive testing of PPE before we go into another balance. So you can apply this myriads of procedures that we have come up with and start applying them. Until then, keep liking the video, subscribe, share, and comment. See you later. Bye for now.